Okay, there you go. Thank you. All right, technically, not supposed to get a quiz today, so if it's not perfect, I'm not going to count it, but we're not going to redo it. So hopefully you all got it right. This is the point 1 comma 6. This is the point negative 1 comma 4. So your slope is 4 minus 6 over negative 1 minus 1. So your slope is 1. Okay? And then pick a point. Y minus 6 equals 1 times x minus 1. So did you come up with y equals x plus 5? Is that all right with everybody? All right, now let's get our notes out. We got to continue our conversation from yesterday. Yesterday, we were looking at parabolas, and they were in what's called vertex form. So remember, vertex form means that your equation looks something like this. Because if the equation looks like that, you see it's an x squared, right? So it's a parabola. This tells me it has been moved 5 units to the left and 1 unit down. So just by looking at the equation, you can tell me that the vertex is negative 5, negative 1. That's why that is called vertex form. Now, for problem number 4, we are on the back of page 21, and we're ready for problem number 4. The equations they give you are in what's called standard form. This is standard form. To find the equation in standard form, or to find the vertex, excuse me, of an equation in standard form, you have 2 options. One option is to rewrite it in vertex form, which is what the directions to this problem say. So somehow we have to change this equation to work like this. Okay, now how do you think we might do that? Does anyone have any ideas about how we might do that? Mr. Hollis?
I think I have that idea, but I started to input it and it didn't work on the other way.
Okay. Yep.
Take out a negative 2, so it looks like closest to
Okay. So I'm gonna use that idea, but I'm gonna do something else too, Abby. That's a great idea. I'm gonna go ahead and move this 3 to the other side of the equation, just for the time being. I know it doesn't belong over there, but just for the time being, I'm gonna move that 3 over here. Okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead, like you said, and factor out a negative 2, but I'm only gonna take it out of the x things. So I took a negative 2, so I have x squared minus 2x. Everybody okay with that? Now I put a little blank there because I'm going to complete the square so that I get a quantity like this. So I move my 3 over because I don't want him to be part of this process. Now I'm going to complete the square. So half of 2 is 1. Squared is 1. So I'm going to put a 1 there. Now here's the part that's tricky. I put a 1 in that blank. But that blank is inside the parentheses. So it's not really a 1, it's really a negative 2. So I got to do negative 2 on this side. Whatever you put on this side, you have to put on this side also. So since I put a 1 inside the parentheses, getting times by negative 2, it's really a negative 2. So that's what shows up over here. Okay? So what have I got over here now? I've got y plus 1 equal to negative 2, and now here's the magic. That is a perfect square. What square is that? X minus 1. Now, all that's left to do is move this number back to the other side. So that'll go back to the other side, and I'll have y equals -2, x minus 1 squared minus 1. And would you agree that's vertex form? Because now I can tell where's my vertex. Right one, down one. Plot it. If if you can't figure it out, you're gonna go right one, down one. So that would be 1, -1. Which way is it open? Down. So my parabola looks like this. And this is my axis of symmetry, which will be x equals 1. 1. X. 1. Ollie?
What does the D go?
Direction of opening. Which way is it open? So either gonna be up or down. Okay. Now, that was pretty easy to do arithmetically. Let's look at the next one. Now, many of us do not deal well with fractions. So I can do this exactly the way I did this, but I'm gonna have to factor out a fraction, right? And if I factor 1/2 out of the 6, it's not 3, it's 12. So if that's confusing to me, then I could get rid of the fraction. Is that okay? Can I multiply both sides of the equation by 2 if I don't want to deal with the fraction? Now, if you don't mind fractions, you can do it exactly the way we just did it. But if fractions are a problem for you, especially when we talk about factoring with fractions, then go ahead and just get rid of it. Multiply everything by 2. Now, when I do that, I'm still gonna have to move my 2 over. So I'm gonna have 2y minus 2 equals x squared minus 12x. Everybody okay with that? Think, don't just nod at me and stare at me, people. Think. Now let's complete the square. There's no parentheses this time, so I don't need to worry about that. I just need half of 12 squared. What's half of 12 squared? 36. So I add 36 to both sides. Whatever you put on the right must be put on the left. X minus 6 squared is 2y plus 34, is that right? Now, does that number have to be moved back over to the other side? Yeah. So let's go ahead and do that. So 2y equals x minus 6 squared minus 34. Now what's wrong with that equation? Got that 2 out there in front. So remember in the beginning when we didn't want to deal with the 1/2, so we just times everything by 2? Now we're going to have to turn around and divide everything by 2. So when I divide by 2, I'm going to get my 1/2 back again. There's my 1/2. And then that's going to be a 17. Remember, dividing by 2 is the same as timesing by 1/2.
I think it's a negative 2, when we use the 1 and 1.
You talking about over here?
Yeah, going that, no,
Here?
the one above, I was thinking.
This was my problem right here. So I subtracted the 2. You have to I multiplied everything by 2. And then move the 2 to the other side. So where's my vertex? 6, -17. Axis of symmetry is x equals 6, and my direction of opening is up,
Up.
because that's a positive number, right? All right, we're gonna do one more. Rewriting in vertex form. Then I'm gonna show you a little formula, and we're gonna do it that way. Here we go. Y equals 3x squared plus 12x. All right, no fractions here. You just want to go ahead and factor out the 3. You can do that. And that will leave me with x squared plus 4x. I must complete the square, so I'm going to put a blank in there. What's it going to be? Plus, won't be 2. Half of 4 is 2, but then we have to square it. So it'll actually be 4. But be careful. What gets added to this side? 12. Because it's 3 times 4. So y plus 12 equals 3 times, what's my perfect square right here? That'll always be a perfect square if you do it right. X plus 2. And then you do one more thing. It's the last thing we need to do. Move the 12. Where's my vertex? Negative 2, negative 12. Axis of symmetry, x equals negative 2. And this one opens up because the 3 is positive.
How are we getting the x plus 2 again?
Factor this.
Oh.
X plus 2, x plus 2.
How do we get the first 4? Like,
That, half of 4 is 2, squared is 4. We're completing the square.
okay.
Okay? So I'm gonna be real honest with you. If I'm walking down the hall and I find a quadratic equation in standard form, a quadratic function in standard form, I am not gonna find the vertex this way. There's an easier way, I think. So I'm gonna show you that. You can decide, maybe it's not easier for you, it's easier for me. So here we go. Let's look at our function, which is this. Now, you're used to doing quadratic equations, the quadratic formula, so you know that A is negative 4, B is 16, and C is 3. Would you agree with that? You've done lots of that. The axis of symmetry, or the line of symmetry, can always be found using x equals negative b over 2a. Does that look familiar? Did you guys talk about that last year? Negative b over 2a. So I don't have to do any arithmetic. I can just look at my equation and say, okay, my axis of symmetry will be negative 16 over negative 8. Negative 16 over 2 times negative 4. Is that all right with everyone? So my axis of symmetry is x equals 2. Now, what does that mean about my vertex? If I know my axis is x equals 2, then don't I know my vertex is 2 comma? And now I'll plug the 2 back into my equation, because if I know x, that's how I find y, always, always, always in every problem. So I'm going to plug 2 in. Please be careful when you plug it in, because you have to follow PEMDAS. So don't take negative 4 times 2, that's not right. You have to do 2 squared times negative 4, so that'd be negative 16, plus 32, plus 3. So what is that? 19? And which way does it open? It opens down. I think that's easier. do the next one. Oh no! There's a fraction in it. It's okay, we can deal with it. Now, on this one, if you're going to do it this way, you cannot get rid of the fraction because you can't change your A, B, and C. So A is going to be a third, B is going to be -6, and C is going to be 1. So according to the formula, x equals -b over 2a, 2 times a third. Now, 6 divided by 2/3 is the same as what? 6 times 3/2. So what's 6 over 1 times 3 over 2? 9. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 9. Which means my vertex is 9 comma something. So 9 squared is 81, so this is a third times 81, minus 6 times 9, which is 54, plus 1. What's a third of 81? 27. 27 minus 54 is -27 plus 1. I got -26. Anybody else get that? And which way is it open? With your oh shoot, that's it. I was gonna say with your partner, try the next one, but that's it. All right, I guess we won't try the next one. Well, we will. Let's see what the next one is. Write the equation of the quadratic function given the vertex and some other random point. So I've got a function that has a vertex at 2, -3, and it contains the point 1, 5. So it must look like this. Would you agree with that? Okay. I gotta write an equation. Do you have any thoughts on that? Is it helpful to know the vertex? Can you at least start building an equation if you know the vertex?
Yeah.
So y equals, in my parentheses will be what? If that's the vertex, x minus 2, and then what will be on the end? Actually, -3, down 3. Now, why am I not done? What is wrong with this equation? This is a beautiful equation. There's nothing in front. And why does there need to be something in front? Exactly. There are how many parabolas that have that vertex? A lot, right? Some of them are skinny, some of them are fat, some of them are up, some of them are down, but there's a ton of them, right? You want the particular one that goes through that point. So this number, I'll call it A, is missing. How do you think I'm going to find that A? This is an X and this is a Y value. So I'm going to put 5 in here and 1 in here, and I'm going to solve for A. Does that make sense? Pretty easy. Now, I do want you to be careful. When you do this, 1 minus 2 is -1, squared is 1, right? So this is 1a minus 3. Don't get crazy and do 1 minus 3, that's not right. This is 1a minus 3. So what's my a value going to be? 8. And there is your equation, that's all there is to it. That's all there is. That is easy. Tell me about the next one. What is the beginning framework of the equation going to be for the next one? Y equals, what's in the parentheses? X minus 5, and then this will be plus 1? Is everybody okay with that, given the vertex you were given? So again, this is beautiful start, but we need to know what that multiplier is out in front that's going to control how fat or skinny I am and which way I open. So this time, my point is you are -2. That's my given point. Make sure you're putting the vertex in here. This is the vertex. All right, so -2 equals a times 0 minus 5 squared plus 1. So -2 equals, all right, what's this? 25a plus 1. Do not combine the 25 and the 1. This is 25a plus 1. So -3 equals 25a. And a is going to equal -3/25. Now that's a hideous number, but don't worry, all you have to do is plug it back in your equation, right? All you have to do is write it down right there in place of a. So y equals -3/25 x minus 5 squared plus 1. There is your answer. All right, well, there is one more of these, so would you try it with your partner while I hand out some book problems? Go ahead and try it with your partner.
We're doing it, and we're going to collaborate. Okay, that's fine. It's not mine. Whoa. How do we, what's -4 plus 1 times -4 plus 1? Visual learner. Oh, wait, okay, I got you. What's that? Oh, what you said. I finished. You did. Can I see yours real quick? Yeah. I wrote it down. That works all over the place. No, it's right. It's right.
I got 4 9s for A. Did you guys in your little groups get 4 9s? If you didn't, take a look up here what I did.
Oh, because that's in the parentheses. So then this is
-4 plus 1 is 3, -3 squared is 9, this is 9a. 9a.
Oh, that's right.
So you wrote down as your final answer, this right here, this is the equation. Make sure you put that 4 9s back into the equation. That's it. All right, I just gave you some book problems. We are now going to look at some problems from our book, some word problems. So that you don't have to open up your book and waste all that time. I just copied them for you. So we're starting with, on page 184. I actually gave you 2 pages here, or actually 3 pages. We're on the 184 side, and we're starting with number 54. Among all the rectangles, oh shoot, this has got some answers on it, oh well. Among all the rectangles whose perimeters are 100, find the dimensions of the one with maximum area. So all the rectangles whose perimeters are 100. So can you think of some rectangles that have a perimeter of 100? Could we do 10 and 40? Would that have a perimeter of 100?
Yes, it will.
And you could do 20 and 30, that would have a perimeter of 100, right? There are lots of them. Your job is to find the one that has maximum area. So for example, the area of this one is 400, but the area of this one is 600. You want to come up with the combination of numbers that gives you the maximum area. Now I know the answer is there, but I promise on test day it won't be. So we need to be able to figure this out, this kind of problem. We want the maximum area. So if we know that the perimeter is 100, let's think about this for a second. If we know the perimeter is 100, what do we know about one width and one length? If the whole perimeter is 100, then one width and one length have to add up to 50, don't they? If the whole thing's 100. So if we do this kind of generically and say that's x, doesn't this have to be 50 minus x? Everybody on board so far? So the area will be x times 50 minus x, or negative x squared plus 50x if I distribute. Now wait a minute. What shape is this? A parabola that opens down, and they're asking me for a maximum. I have a parabola that opens down. Where will the maximum be? The vertex. The vertex. And we can find the vertex either by completing the square or by using our formula. So in this problem, what's my b? 50, so it's going to be negative 50. What's my a? Negative 1, so that'll be negative 2. So what's my x value? 25. And if the width is 25, the length will also be 25 because it's 50 minus x. So 25, 25, 25, 25, perimeter is 100. And what will the maximum area be? 25 times 25, or 625 square feet, inches, whatever our unit is. Feet. So the answer to problem 54 is you need to build a 25 by 25. You need to make a square. 25 on the side. All right, that was easy. How about 57? No answer provided this time. You're on your own. Let's see. Can we draw a picture? carefully designed a rectangular patio that's 25 by 40. So here's my patio, it's 25 by 40. This patio is surrounded by a terraced strip of uniform width. Okay. It's got trees and junk in it, okay. If the area of the strip is 504, find the width of the strip. Alright, so the area of the strip is 504. Okay, I don't know, what do you think? Any ideas? Yeah, Abby? Thank you for having ideas today, by the way, go ahead.
Like 25 plus 2x times 40 plus 2x.
Oh, the area of the whole shape, she's saying the entire shape will be 25 plus 2x times 40 plus 2x. I think she's right. Does that make sense to everybody? The whole thing is the original 40 plus an x on each side, so plus 2x, and then the original 25 plus 2x. Okay? All right, what do I do now? What?
Do you distribute everything?
Yeah, I can do that. I sure can, so that'll be 1,000 plus, let's see, that would be 50 and 80, 130x plus 4x squared. Okay, so that's now it's FOILed out. That's still the area of the whole thing. Alexis?
Does the 501, does that 504, so it's just that for the outside?
It's just the green part. So the
you
green
also
part's
figure out
504.
the middle part, like 20 times 25, and then add that to.
Ah, so Alexis says the area of the garden, I think 25 times 40 is 1,000.
Has to be subtracted from the overall area.
Yep. And so hang on. And then the area of the green strip is 504. So she's saying the area of the whole thing is 1,504. Is she right? Isn't it the area of the inside plus the strip? That would be your whole thing? And since we know both of those areas, one was given to us, one we could just do length times width. I see a lot of confused faces, so I'm gonna double check. 40 times 25 is 1,000, right? Yeah. Okay, so the area of the garden is 1,000, and the area of the terrace stuff is 504, so that's a total of 1,504, equal to that. So now, Jeff says we can do some subtraction here and clean our equation up a little bit. So 4x squared plus 130x minus 504 equals 0. If I subtract this from both sides, now I got a quadratic that's in standard form. And I want to know when it equals 0. What do I do with that? This doesn't say maximum. Please don't find the vertex. It doesn't say maximum. If it says maximum in, go for a vertex. Cause that's what a maximum is, right?
Can they both be divided by 4 if you take out the 4?
Can I take out a 4? I don't know, do all those things divide by 4? If they do, I will. Now 130 doesn't, but I could certainly divide by 2. So 2x squared plus 65x minus 252. You could certainly do that if you wanted to. Factor. You know what probably does factor, but it would take me a week to figure out how. I think I'm just gonna do the quadratic formula. Since I have a calculator, I'm just gonna do that. I'm sure it factors, but I'm not the world's best factorer, and I'm afraid it would just take me too long. So, here we go. Is that by any chance a perfect square? Yep, so it did factor. But that's okay, that didn't take us very long to do. Okay, so what are my answers? What are my x values? Well, it can't be the negative one, right? X can't be negative, so I'm gonna throw that out. 65 plus 79 is, or negative 65 plus 79 is 14 divided by 4 is 3.5. So the width of the strip is 3.5. Negative 65 plus 79 divided by 4. The big thing I want to point out there is, guys, when you've got these quadratics, these x squared equations, sometimes you're going to be finding the vertex. So sometimes you're going to do negative b over 2a, but you only want to find the vertex if the question is asking you for a maximum or a minimum. Okay, if your equation is set equal to 0, you are solving it. You're not vertexing it. All right, next, that was 57. We have some more, we might not get all of them done. Let's see what 58 is. Oh, yep. Yep, we want to do 58. Okay, it's an important kind of problem to do. So here we go. Let's read 58 for a second. Just read it while I get the board ready here. Yep. Okay, hurry up. Leave your phone here.
Right there, on my paper.
All right, let's read the problem, see if we can figure out what we're going to be doing in this case. All right, please try to wake up and focus, guys. I am so tired. I sympathize with you, but this is a great problem and we've got to stay focused. All right. So these people have rented 800 apartments at $300 a month. So forget the rest of it for a moment. Right now, at this moment in time, what is their income? How much money are they bringing in? 800 times 300, that's exactly right. Because to find income, don't you take the number you're selling times the price for each one? Now, in the problem, those two things are changing though. They have decided that they are going to decrease the rent. So they're going to decrease the rent. The rent's going to go down. And you know from basic economics that if the rent goes down, if the price goes down, they're going to sell more, right? Price goes down, the number you sell goes up. Price goes up, the number you sell goes down. Fact of life, right? Now, how are these things changing? Well, it says that every $5 that we decrease the rent, so the rent is gonna go down in increments of 5. So if you decrease once, it's going down by 5, twice would go down by 10, 3 times would go down by 15. So we are going down in increments of $5. So we're gonna let X be the number of price changes. So every change is worth $5 down, losing $5. Now, what about the rentals? They're going up in increments of 20. So this is gonna be plus 20X. Is that right? And that is gonna be my income right there. Now, we got a couple choices. We're gonna FOIL that out. But we're either gonna set it equal to 0 because we're solving it, or we're gonna find the vertex of it. So let's read the question. That's the question, that's A. Forget about the graphing. Look at question C. What rent will yield Welcome Home the maximum monthly income? I need a vertex. What's the key word in the problem? Maximum. When it says maximum of a parabola, this is going to be a parabola. When you multiply it out, you're going to get an x squared. You want the vertex. So y equals, here we go, I'm going to multiply it out, 24,000. Use your calculator if you have trouble with the arithmetic. So I'm going to get negative 100x squared plus 2,000x. I hope I multiplied that. Plus 2,400 or 250,000. Now I am really getting joyful here because the question wants a maximum. And what do I have here? Not just a parabola, but a parabola that opens down. Isn't that a good thing to have a parabola that opens down and want the maximum? So x equals negative b over 2a, which I think is 10. Now wait, what does that stand for? 10 what's? Not $10. 10 times to change the price. So if I change the price 10 times, that means I'm gonna drop the price by $50 because every time was worth 5. So if the original price was 300 and I drop it 10 times, then what rent should I be charging? $250. Yeah. So $250 is the rent you should charge to maximize your income. That's going to give you the maximum income. So we found our vertex, or at least our x coordinate. Said, okay, that's 10 price changes. That's $50 off of 300. Now, if I put 10 in here, I'm going to get 800 plus 200. That's going to give me 1,000. What's that? It's hopeless. Eyes are shut.
Good.
What's this? That's 1,000 what? What does that 1,000 mean?
Units.
That's how many apartments I'm going to rent, right? Originally it was 800, but I'm going to do 20 times 10 more. So that'll be 1,000 apartments. All right, let me see what 59. Oh, okay. 59 9 is the same exact problem, and this will be a test question, so you might as well practice another one. It's the same thing, only this time we're selling soda pop. Alright, so right now, how many cans am I selling? Right now, before I make any changes. How many cans am I selling? 26,000. And the price of each is 50 cents. I'll say 0.50. That's right now. But what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to increase the price. And what's going to happen when I increase the price? What's going to happen to this 26,000? It's going to go down. How much is it going to go down by? 1,000 cans for every change. So that will be 1,000 X. X is the number of changes. Now, what's going to happen to that original 50 cents? It's going to go up in increments of 5 cents. Is everybody following that? So remember, basic law of economics. If the price goes up, then this is going to go down. The number you sell goes down. If the price goes down, then this one's going to go up. So one of them is going to be a subtraction and one of them is going to be an addition every time. We want to maximize our income, our revenue. All right, so here we go. Let's FOIL it out. Might need a calculator. Got some decimals here. To get it right. There's a mistake. How do my numbers look to you? Have I done a good job? Okay, so it looks like I've got negative 50x squared plus 800x plus 13,000. And I want to know the vertex. So negative b over 2a. I got x is 8. What's that mean? $8, $8, 8 cans, 8 what? 8 changes. How much should they charge per can to maximize their revenue? Well, if we have 8 changes, and every change is worth a nickel, then we're going up by 40 cents, and the original price was 50 cents, so our new price is 90 cents a can. That's what I should be charging, is 90 cents a can. Now, if I raise my price 8 times, then I'm going to lose 8,000 sales. So I will only sell 18,000 cans. So I'm gonna sell 18,000 cans at 90 cents each. So what will my revenue be? Won't I just multiply those together? 18,000 times 90 cents. My revenue is $16,200. So this is the price I should be charging, and this is my maximum revenue. Because revenue, income, is the number you sell times the price each. I did run off number 66. Let me see what it was. Check real quick what 66 is. All right, 66. I'll just read it to you. It talks about a highway, and it says it's posted as a 6% grade. So there's somebody driving out in the mountains, and there's a sign along the road that says, okay, we have a 6% grade. What that means is, for every 100 feet of horizontal distance, there's a 6-foot increase. That 6% is like the slope, 6 over 100. So it says, on this highway, what is the horizontal distance required to climb 250 feet? Okay, this is number 66, not on the paper, I didn't run it off, straight out of your book. So here's the situation. We have this highway. It has a 6% grade, which means that for every 100 feet you go this way, you go 6 feet up. The 6% grade is rise over run. It's like slope. So the question is, I am gonna drive 250, what is the horizontal distance that would be required to make this 250? So in other words, what's this if this is 250? Donovan? Like a proportion?
Yeah.
Absolutely. One way to do the problem would be to say 6 over 100 has to equal 250 over something. Does that make sense to everybody? That's the easiest way to do it. Not the only way, but it sure is, I think, the quickest. So this is the road. These are the parameters of the road, but we need this to be 250. So we got to figure out what this is. So 6x equals that. So whatever that divided by 6 is. I got 4,166.7 feet. Look at timing. 2.1 homework will be due on